Buenos dias, familia. Hope
Buenos
everyone
Hey.
is having an amazing day. We are coming to you from the sponsor Collab Studios.
Yes, Zerski.
Miami, Florida, so you know. I am your girl, Roxy, but remember, I'm going by my born name, as Kangie said, which is Roselyn. So we're getting familiarized with the
Roselyn.
Puerto Rican version of myself and not the Anglo nickname I gave myself.
I love it, though. I never knew that was your born name.
There you go. See, everyone's
that.
learning a little bit more
See?
with me as the podcast progresses.
I love that.
So introducing the little devil on my shoulder that you will
Hi.
often hear.
Hello, everyone. My name is KJ, for those of you who don't know me, and I am the producer of Growing Up Spanglish.
Yes. And today we have a wonderful guest. I'm always excited about every single guest that comes through our table, but today's guest is just a little extra special, really only because I feel like I watched you grow up. Literally, you weren't even old enough to be in the same places that I was in. No, but there you were. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Kangie. My born name was Angela, but now it's Kangela. But I go by Kangie. I was born in Peru, in Lima, Peru. Lima, Peru, to be exact. And I was raised in Broward County, 954 Life.
Yes.
All right. Let's give Kangie a round of applause real quick.
Yeah, little Broward baby. She reps hard. She reps hard.
I got to.
I'm so happy that you're here. And honestly, the timing is amazing because you
It's too
just
good.
landed from Peru. And so it don't get more Spanglish than
Like
that.
a few hours ago. Like my brain is still transitioning from Spanish to English as we speak.
So this is a perfect segue
It
as we
really
head
is.
back home.
Yes, it really is.
I love it though. I love the fact that like in the past like year or so, I see you've been making these trips. back
Yeah,
home.
so I actually just got my citizenship 2021, I want to say. And so I just got like my American passport and stuff. So I've really just been able to start making these trips back again. So my first time back, I want to say was 2021. But before that, I hadn't been back home in 8 or 9 years.
Wow.
So it was, yeah, like these past trips have honestly been very emotional for me. I hope I don't cry through this interview.
But if you do,
But
it's
they
a
really-
safe space.
No, thank you. And I felt that way too. That's why I was like, I'm so happy that this is what I'm getting back to because it's not only is the experience fresh on my brain, but also I just like things like this to help me process too. Cause
Yeah.
it's, I don't know, I guess sometimes in those type of settings, you can feel like you're so alone and or like the only person going through it, but that's not really true. I mean, we might have different stories and experiences, but it's all similar in the way that we're coming from a completely different place to a country that I don't know is fairly new to us,
Right.
And also we're new to them, so it's just like a whole. I think it's adjusting for both. Like America is adjusting to us, and we're adjusting to America at the same time.
Right. No, and that's
You
exactly
know?
what the Growing Up Spanglish podcast is all about because for myself, having been born in Miami, Hialeah specifically, and being Puerto Rican, right, as a Puerto Rican person, you don't have to go through the process of immigration, essentially, right?
Gotcha.
So we are considered U.S. citizens, and also being from Miami, you're like sort of introduced to a very specific part of Latin America.
Yeah.
So whose experiences are not too different from my own.
Exactly.
So then the point of the podcast was like, hey, I don't know what it feels like for countries where I've never met anyone, like let's say like I don't think I've met anyone from like Paraguay, for example. I don't know anyone from there.
There are so many countries
Right,
that are
there's
in
so
South
many
America,
countries.
for real.
And I was like, kind of what you're saying is like, you feel like no one knows what you're going through, even though you know, that there's other people that have gone
yeah.
through this. But that's what the podcast is for, to share those experiences.
I love that you have this seriously, because it really does create such a community within, it just really does help you feel less alone.
Exactly.
It can be so hard, bro. For real.
It really can be.
Yeah.
So let's talk
thank
about.
you for having me.
Of
for
course.
Real. I love this.
Let's take it back to the beginning, because you said you just became a citizen in 2021, you said?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what my passport says.
So
sure.
Let's talk about that journey, because I don't know too much what that process is like.
Oh, right.
So you were born...
because Puerto Rico, like you said, it is part of the U.S. Yeah, so I was born in Peru. I lived there till I was 10 years old, and my mom brought me here. It was just me and her. Honestly, the process to even get me my visa to get here was crazy. I got denied the first 2 times that we applied for my citizenship, and then she started speaking to counselors or whatever that kind of, helped guide you in the right direction as to what to say in the interview. And I probably shouldn't be saying this, but I'm sure it's like past the time of, like they can't do anything about it at this point. But basically, my mom found out that if you're the youngest kid, like she was trying to get a visa for me, which I'm the youngest kid. I was the youngest kid at the time. I still am, actually. But basically, she created a fake new younger kid because they never let you get the visa for the youngest kid.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because they know that you're going to come here and stay, and that's not what they want.
Okay.
Type B.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so she literally got someone to make a fake birth certificate of another kid. His name was Ruben.
Shout out to Ruben.
Shout out to Ruben. And yeah, basically, the third time that we went for the visa, she was like, oh yeah, I don't know if they denied me last time because I was pregnant. Was not pregnant. And yeah, so they ended up giving me the visa because they thought that I was not the youngest kid. So that was one step. Finally got the visa. We ended up coming here, and basically what she had to do is, marry someone that does have an American citizenship here. She actually ended up meeting someone that she hit it off with well, so that was a blessing. And yeah, they're not together anymore, but they're great friends. Like, okay. So his name was Ernesto. Shout out to Ernesto.
And Ernesto was peruano también? ¿O?
No, Ernesto was Cuban.
Oh, okay.
And Cubans have a completely different protocol.
Process?
Yeah, because if I'm not mistaken, they had what they call the wet feet, dry feet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, as soon as you get to America, you kind of automatically have a permanent citizenship.
Asylum kind of thing.
Type thing.
Okay.
And then what's beautiful about it is that basically the person that you do marry doesn't have the exact same rights, but like basically we were able to go to a permanent residency immediately rather than having I believe that there is another residency that you can get, but that one can expire. And then like after that, it's a whole process. But luckily we were able to have the permanent residency. And then after 5 years, I want to say, we applied for the citizenship. And then, yeah, that honestly, I shout out to my mom because she really was the one who fought the fight the entire time.
Yeah.
I kind of was just by her side praying with her because it's always what she asked me to do. And I literally remember, it's crazy because I just landed. So
yeah.
You know how they tell you, there's like signs that are like U.S. citizens and non-U.S. citizens?
Right.
As I was walking to the U.S. citizen zone, I was having such a vivid flashback of having to go to the non-residence one. And it was just so nerve-wracking because they can deny you you've already landed, and they can be like, actually, nah, we're not letting you in the country and send you back, which is crazy. So I literally vividly remember standing in line and just praying with her that they let us through.
Right.
Because, that was just kind of like the final part of the whole situation, at least to get into the country.
Right.
And it was just such a relief to not have to do that.
Yeah.
Like I did just get to walk through the U.S. citizen part, and
it's like a good feeling, I imagine.
Smooth. It was so smooth. And I was just like, bro, this took 5 minutes to get through.
Right.
So like last time y'all asked me a million questions.
Right.
But yeah, it really was such a blessing, and I'm grateful that I get to experience it now as an adult because when I was a kid, I didn't understand everything that was going on, but I did feel my mother's stress. You know what I
Gotcha.
mean?
Yeah.
And which is why I was so, I don't know, I mean, I was praying with her and everything, not just because, you know, of what was happening, but because I felt my mother's like worry.
Yeah, of course.
And I could just feel how important this was to her. So, like I said, shout out to her. She really did fight the battle.
Yeah.
We're
You,
grateful.
from what I could always observe, are very close to your mom.
Yeah, bro. I mean, how can I not be? Like,
Right.
she really has been such a, I mean, we've had, you know, our ups and downs, but regardless, I don't know, I could never say like
Yeah, no.
anything bad about her because I just have seen her gone through some of the craziest battles.
Yeah.
And I commend her for so much, for real.
Yeah, of course. Like luchadora for sure.
Yes, I literally have Guerrera tatted right here because for real, that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
You know?
So y'all get here and you land, like you end up in Broward.
Yes.
Before we continue down that journey, I wanted to know about your name. So you said you had a
yes.
name change, which I think is so interesting and amazing. So tell us.
Thank you. No. So basically, I was born Angela. You know, when I was born, that's what my birth certificate says. Actually, in Peru, it is still my name because in Peru, you can't change your name to anything else. The new name has to start with your new initial. So in
Oh.
Peru, yeah, with the same initial as your first one. So I could have changed to Angelica, but basically, my name in Peru is still Angela.
Yeah.
But when I got my citizenship here, they basically ask you if you do want to change your name.
That's so
Like they give you,
interesting.
yeah, right? And so obviously I was sitting right next to my mom when this was happening. And I just jokingly was like, oh yeah, I'm going to change to Kangie. And she was totally cool with it. Totally cool
from?
with it. What, Kangie?
Yeah.
I mean, it just was already kind of like the artist name that I was going by.
At 10 years old?
No.
I was gonna say,
no,
like-
no. My citizenship interview wasn't until I was 20.
Oh,
or
okay.
so.
So at 20 is when you got the choice to
Yes.
change the name.
Exactly. Because first we had to go through a whole residency, and then you have to have your residency for a certain period of time before you can even apply to be a
Okay.
citizen.
Got it.
Yeah. So this was at about 20 years old. And like I said, so we were in the interview, and I just jokingly was like, oh, I'll change it to Kangie. And she was super cool with it. She's always been very supportive of me as a creative, as an artist. So I think that's why she was like super cool with it, I guess. And I just really didn't expect her to be. Mind you, we're sitting at the office, so I have to make the decision right now. And I was like, yo, she's mad cool with it.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to change it so drastically to just, because basically I've always gone by Angie because it's short of Angela.
Right.
So I kind of just added the K to the Angie.
Okay.
And so what I did was add the K to the Angela, which, like I said, is my born name. So yeah. So now legally my name is Kangela.
I love that.
Thank you.
That's
Me too.
awesome.
The K is for killing them. I swear.
You're hilarious.
I feel like we need a gunshots after
I
that.
was
Like,
wondering.
Yeah, because if it's one thing about Kangie, she will talk her shit. Okay. I love it. I love it.
No, thank
okay,
you.
cool. So that's how we get to Kangie. So when did you start adding K to Angie?
That's a good question. I started adding the K when I was like in high school because it was really just my Twitter name at the time. My Twitter name was Kangie West, if anyone
Okay,
remembers.
got it. Makes sense.
And when I first started creating, I was creating under the name Kangie West, but mostly because it just stuck. Like everybody just loved it. So I was like, bet. But really when I first made that my Twitter name, obviously I've always loved Kangie West, but to me, it wasn't nothing that I was at the time trying to stick with. I would just make parodies of anything because I make fun of anything. So yeah, that was how it started, but then it did carry on. And I remember when I was 18 years old, I kind of had this thing where I was like, I like the Kangie, but I don't want to be so stuck to the whole Kanye West thing all the time. Not for anything other than I want to be my own individual.
yeah, and it's such an artistic name, just Kangie.
Exactly. Thank you for that. So yeah, and I really did like it. So I dropped the West and I just carried on with Kangie for a really long time.
Yeah.
But I think that at some point it evolved. And yeah, I've just kind of had like my own personal attachment to it at this point.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, you're an artist, you're a creative. And so over time as your art and your like brand evolved, so did what you wanted to call yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it was more so as I grew as a person, because I feel like you have to grow as a person before you can grow as a brand or artist or anything like that. And like I said, that's why like at first dropping the West was like, it was a thing for me.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because at first I really was very comfortable with it being just a parody of the Kanye West thing. But then I was like, nah, like this is really what I'm taking seriously as my craft and my career, and I want it to be just me. Like I don't even know Kanye. Like I don't
owe him anything.
No free clout.
No, I love that. That
No,
makes
for real.
sense. You came up with this when you were in school. You had already essentially kind of started working on your brand, whether you were aware of it or not.
Type thing. Yeah.
But like I said, I've known you for a minute and watched what you've done, and I didn't know it at the time. You were not old enough to be doing the things you were doing. I mean, you were literally throwing events, throwing parties, throwing concerts.
16, 17.
Yeah. So let's talk about like, what was like the first things that you started to do?
Okay, so we started throwing events. I can't even say it was just me. It was with the collective X Laced at the time, which at the time, bro, I remember when we first started, it was like 13 of us, like, and but you know, we were all very young, and we were, like I said, 16, 17. We were in high school, and I feel like at the beginning, for all of us, it was kind of like a passion project thing, because we were all very passionate and adamant about our craft, but we didn't have a platform. And, you know, now that I look back on it, I'm like, why would anybody be booking 16, 17-year-olds? But at the time, we were very frustrated about that, because we were already taking our craft very seriously, like I said, and nobody was taking us as seriously as we would like them to be. And so we kind of started creating these platforms and events for ourselves and for our friends, because we also did already have many creative friends and whatnot. So yeah, one thing led to another. And I think, honestly, I love community for things like this, because it just really was so many of us that it wasn't no way that we were going to be stopped. You know what I mean? Like it was kind of like a snowball effect at some point. Because I remember the first show, I joined X Laced after their first show. I remember going to their first and second show as, you know, like a visitor. Like I was just checking out what they were doing. And, you know, we just kind of started being friends since. And I started, you know, working with them. And
Where were these shows?
at first they were in Broward. I remember the first one that I went to was like deep in Lauderdale. I don't remember where exactly.
Like warehouses and shit?
Yeah.
Okay.
One of them was at a warehouse, but the one that I went to actually was a very similar space like this. Kind of like it really was meant to be like a gallery studio type thing, but we just turned it up.
Right.
And from then, we started adding more music acts to our events, because at first, most of us were visual artists. So like it really did start as an art gallery type thing, but we had some performance arts, and then we just started having more music artists joining, and it just started becoming a thing. Like it was honestly so beautiful to watch and to look back on even now. I remember CD3, like we were getting shut down literally because the venue was so packed.
Yeah, I remember.
And it would become like a liability for the city type thing.
Right.
And it was just like, whoa.
And I would imagine that if y'all were like 16, 17 at this time, was there someone that understood how to like properly?
So there was literally one person we had on the team that was like of age, and given like we understood the logistics to a certain extent for sure, but because we were young, there were a lot of things that I guess we were willing to overlook.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had one person on the team, literally one person on the team that was of age, and I don't know. I mean, I honestly think we did really well for
And anything, I totally understand. Anything, honestly, that creates a community and also creates a platform for people. I get it. Like when I first started doing the Roxy show, right? that came out of necessity as well. It became a thing because I had so many creative friends that I also went to school with. And then coming out of high school, you meet all these people outside of, your neighborhood or whatever. And you're like, damn, there's so many creative people. And in my brain, it was just kind of like, I know, not for lack of trying or lack of talent, just understanding how gatekeeping works. I was like, these people, they're never going to get on the radio. They're never going to get on a concert. How can I do something? I need to do something.
There wasn't much of an underground community, I feel like, in Miami, because I feel like at that time, Miami was, I feel like how other people perceive it, is similar to, at least at the time, how would they perceive other bigger cities? So, like, they were mainly based, looking at the more mainstream artists.
Right.
So, like, for example, they may have been looking at, like, Rick Ross, but that's so far from us. That, like, and it really is so clear that all of us were frustrated by that because there is so much culture here. There's just so much culture in South Florida.
Exactly.
And it was a shame that, there was no light on it at the time. So, I love that, the best things really have come from, like, the frustration of the lack thereof.
Exactly. You create things because there's a void. You don't find...
That's such a Spanglish thing to do, if you will. If it's not there, we're going to create it.
You'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. Everything is figured out.
We come from parents, clearly, that came here with nothing.
And made it happen.
Right.
And that in itself is so inspiring. We've already come this far. I'm not about to let this stop me.
Right,
let's just create the space for it. And that was exactly what we did. And I'm so happy that we did do that because it really is so crazy to look back on. Like, I think was it the CD4 or CD3? I don't know. But we had this one show that was a crazy lineup. When I look back on the flyer, like, it was X, it was Ski Masks, The Slump God, it was Denzel Curry, Kodak Black. That was, oh my God, honestly, that was such a whole thing that it'll take.
But just to show, not only because I want the people to understand, this is like how many years ago now,
bro? Oh my God.
Yeah.
CD3, I want to say was 2014, 2015.
Right. So y'all were tapping in too, and the reason I
that
brought
was
up that
almost
specific
a decade ago.
No, literally 2024.
That's
Y'all were like tapped into these people that weren't where they're at right now.
Yeah.
And so to understand not only just like the creativity that was in your group, but also just like the vision that y'all had. Like, you understood the people that you're booking, the people that you're looking for to create this stage for them, because that person, they're next.
Yeah, it really is, because I feel like it was an energy thing at the end of the day, because I mean, I'm still such good friends with so many of the people that, we were building with back then. And it just was so natural. It just made sense. It made sense at the time. Yeah. So that was what we did. But yeah, it's such a crazy time to look back on, for real.
So what high school did you go to?
I went to Fort Lauderdale High School.
Oh, okay. So that's the area. Gotcha. Okay, so that's why you knew all of the people that you knew. That was that area.
I was actually, I grew up in Hollywood. I was supposed to go to South Broward High, but I really, really didn't want to for personal reasons. I just really needed a change. Yeah, I just needed a change. So I went somewhere where I didn't know anybody, like at the school. And I remember I convinced like two of my best friends at the time to also transfer to that school with me. And yeah, I ended up just by being, in that area. Because, for example, like X and Ski went to Piper High. So I met them through just mutual friends, but because, like I said, we were, more far up north in that area and whatnot. And yeah, most of the X-Lace group was in Miramar. But honestly, it's so crazy because when you think about it, really everything was like close but far away at the time. Because we're kids, we don't have cars. I can't drive to Miramar or Fort Lauderdale, I will say the internet did a lot for us. Like, as much as I have a weird like relationship with the internet because I don't like to be on it, but I will admit I met so many of like my bestest friends on there.
I mean, you're good at the internet.
Thank you.
Because you're very sarcastic and funny, and you like to troll people.
I love trolling.
It's really good to watch.
I think it's funny when people take me seriously. I'm
I
like,
know.
why would you do that? You played yourself. No, but I really did meet so many great friends through the internet, and I'm forever grateful for that. Like, I literally have the DMs of like when me and X first started talking, and I'm literally like trying him because he said some shit that I didn't like, and I was just like, I don't know who the fuck you think you're talking to. And then it's so crazy to see, what our like friendship like turned into.
Yeah.
And yeah, I shout out to the internet for
Yeah.
shit like that.
Well, shout out to you because unknowingly you made a decision that changed the course of your life. You
That
were like,
part.
I don't want to go to South Broward for whatever reasons you had. And then going to this completely different school really introduced you to people that were going to be so influential in your journey as an artist and as a person too.
No, absolutely. Also, so random. I don't know if you're familiar with the founder of Trash Magazine. His name is Cliff, but he goes, I want to say his name on IG now is Sauce McGraw. And if it's not, please cut this out. But I'm pretty sure that is. But anyway, he was a senior when I was a freshman in high school. And first he was making music at the time. Mm-hmm. And I guess this must have been one of like his first music videos, and he casted me to be like the girl in the music video. And do you know who was shooting the music video?
Who?
Forbes.
Oh my God.
That's how I met Forbes for the first time ever.
I love those type of stories.
This was in 2011, maybe 2012, maybe. But that was how I met Forbes for the first time ever, and we just were cool ever since. And like I said, everything has just been such a snowball effect.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'll say that the people who, since back then were serious about it, even when it wasn't substantially anything, like I've just seen them go so far just because they believed in themselves that hard. And that is such, like, I cannot stress enough how hard it is to believe in yourself, even when you may feel like you have nothing. If you in your heart feel like there's something there, then you need to just push it, bro. Because I've just seen so many people, just like really carry their craft and career to a whole nother level just off the strength of believing.
Yeah,
and that's so
you have to be
beautiful to
cocky.
me.
You have to. Like,
why wouldn't you be? Like you've been placed in like certain rooms and certain positions for a reason. You can't take that for granted.
Right.
Nothing is a coincidence. Coincidences are like saying you're a joke to God. I don't believe in coincidences for real.
Yeah. You have a lot of, it sounds like you're a spiritual person.
Oh, very much so.
And you
sure.
do say a lot of things that are like, I don't know what the word to put on it, but you have beliefs. Like,
I don't know what the word is either.
I don't know what the word is.
I definitely have to say my faith, for sure, from my mother, and just, I did grow up Catholic. I went to a Catholic school until I was 10 years old in Peru. And I honestly love that I got to do that just because they really do teach you beautiful values. I don't really consider myself a Catholic so much anymore just because I don't particularly
follow the traditions.
It's so funny. The traditions are what I love the most.
Okay.
I think the politics of it is what I dislike the most. Like, just, I don't know. It can be a little self-righteous, and I don't like that. I love being more acceptant of what people may have to offer and whatnot. And yeah, but I'll definitely say that my faith is as strong as it is because I had those roots. I feel like every single story that's in the Bible is somewhere in the back of my head somewhere. But one of my favorites is the one of having the faith the size of a mustard seed.
Yeah.
And the fact that it can move mountains.
Right.
And that is just one of my favorites for real, because I really do feel that way. Like, my faith has gone, like, just has grown stronger and stronger just through the years, because as much as I have been growing in like my career and as an artist and a creative, whatever it may be, the more that I grow, the more challenges that I face.
Of course.
And it's almost like there are certain things that I just would not have gotten through if I did not have the faith that I did. Anyone else would have, I don't want to say giving up, but like taken another safer route, because that seems, the smart thing to do. But like when I would,
Maybe not the smart thing to do, but the easiest.
so to say, I don't know what to call it, because it doesn't add up in my brain.
Right.
But I be talking to God, and God be like, nah, keep doing your shit.
Right.
And I'm like, bet. Nah, for real. Yo, it was this one time I was down terrible. And I had to go to the store to get water and like some necessities. And I always go to my altar before I leave the crib just to pray and be like, just to talk to them. And like I said, I was down terrible. And I was like, I always keep some money on my altar. And I was about to take one of the $10 bills that I had on there to go buy my water. And for some reason, I just didn't. I was like, you figure it out, even though I had no money in my card. So, and I walked to the store, and I had some change in my wallet at the time, but it wasn't enough to cover the necessities that I was getting. And immediately this girl next to me was like, oh, don't worry about it. I got you. I didn't know this girl from a fucking can of paint. Like, I never seen her before. And like I said, when I was at my altar, I was about to take, like they said, the $10, the bills that was on there.
Your offering?
Yeah, my fucking offering. I'm over here. Yo, my bad, y'all. I need this. And they were like, no, don't worry about it. I got you. And I just walked out my house without nothing
Knowing how you were.
solid. And I didn't even struggle much in front of her. But she just it was like really an angel sent thing. And I just was like, if that wasn't a testament, I've had many testaments in life for real, but that was just such a strong one, because I really went to the store with nothing. Like, I had no business.
No, but
being at the
God be
store.
looking out.
But God did.
Yeah.
God did. And honestly, that's just like a very small fraction of like how my life often turns out to be. And that's why I just will always put everything into God's hands for real.
Yeah.
And like I said, I've seen my mother do it, and I've seen, just when your belief really, 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 really is that strong enough, it really does work. And of course, I'm not going to say, like, you can't be trying to, you can't just be like, oh, I'm not going to do nothing today.
Right.
And expect for this to work.
Right, because we talk about manifestation often where people think that it's just, I'm going to wish this into existence.
That's not the case.
You have to make something work.
You got to put yourself in the position where your energy really is drawing that type of
Exactly.
love into your life, because I feel like that is the strongest energy. Like, I don't know, there's been so many times in my life where I was in a situation and love was what pulled me out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she said she saw her mom do it, right? And essentially, I wanted you to kind of touch on that some more. What exactly did you see your mom do? Because I have this thought process that like parents, they reinforce certain things and they take away from certain things. And in the sense of, if you see your parent, give to someone constantly, you naturally become a giver, right? Because that's the action that you've had displayed for you. So what would that be? Or how would you define that your mom kind of gave you this faith to some degree?
I could absolutely answer that, because it goes right back to what the story that I was telling you before, as far as when we first got here, like to the U.S. And like I said, we were in like the migrations part of getting through the airport. And like, bro, I don't know, like I could feel that day so vividly, because at the time, my mom, before we came here, she's been a teacher her whole life. Like, she's greatly respected, and where she lives, like, she had all of her friends. She quite literally gave up all of her life just for us to be here. And so being in like, that migrations part of the airport, it just was so crazy to think, like, even now, bro, because it's just like, you're really gambling. Like, anything could happen. They could really turn around and be like, nah, we don't want you here. Like, you got to go back to where you came from, and you got to pay for your own ticket. It's just crazy. And I really do relive that all the time, because it was just such an all or nothing type thing.
Yeah.
And I just saw her give her all for just the idea that there might be a better life here. And in a sense, there definitely really is. I have so many opportunities here that I just could not have had over there. And yeah, I'm so grateful for that, bro. Like, I really look back on that moment all the time. Like, my mom did not have to do that. We could have stayed in Peru and did anything else. I probably would have went to college if I went to Peru.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. It's just, I know that life would have been so much different. And I'm so glad that she did take the risk.
Right.
Because, yeah, like, it's either take the risk or lose the chance for real. And she was not about to lose the chance.
I think also that you witnessing just that defining moment of it's kind of like either this is going to go well or it's not. But your mom took that chance. And so inspired in you that, like, why wouldn't I always take the chance when you have that crossroad of should I do this or shouldn't I? But it's just like, we're going to see what happens. I'm going to just go this way.
Yo, my favorite line whenever you're like about to do some shit that you're scared of, that of fear of rejection or whatever it may be. Like, the worst thing that they could say is no.
Right. Once you've already experienced the bottom, it's just like, all right, well, I know what this feeling is like.
Yeah, and I know how to get right back up.
Right.
And I've done it a million times now, so it's just, let's just run it. For real.
Yeah. Your mom is also artistic.
She is.
Yeah.
She is. She really is. And I know that she has seeded that in me so deeply because, like I said, she's a teacher. So basically what she used to do would be, create her but she would create things for her classroom, whether it be like the welcome sign and the ABCs and just anything that you were learning, she would figure out a way to make, a creative
make it
thing.
Fun,
Yes.
interesting for the kids.
Yes, exactly. And my mom, I call my mom a professional mom because like she really taught kindergarten. So she's been always very into the psychology of how kids grow and stuff like that. So, like she's very good at picking up on, for example, say one of her students seems to be showing some type of stunt in growth in like a certain area. Like she can kind of pick up on why that may be, but she can also pick up on how she can nurture that kid to, get past that.
Right.
And yeah, I have loved learning from her and those type of things because those type of things also apply to adults as much as like we may not notice. Because if somebody's not helping you while you're a kid, that issue will continue to show up as you grow up, So
your mom was very nurturing to you as you went through your artistic growth?
Absolutely. I think that my mom has been, I wouldn't even say a number one fan because like she definitely is that, but also damn near a mini manager, if you will. Like, and it's so interesting because she don't know a goddamn thing that's going on in like the creative industry or anything like that, but she knows about self-belief and she definitely knows about business. So she just always is giving me advice on how I could be moving forward, not just as a businesswoman, but also as a person, which like I said earlier, like just evolving as a person will help you evolve in everything else in your life. So yeah, she really is my idol. I don't have any other idols other than my mommy.
Yeah, I mean, your mom sounds like an amazing person. And
She
also
is,
like
man.
you are very, I feel like it sounds so basic, but I feel like you're just a genuinely good person.
No, thank you.
And so I feel like that's a testament to your mom.
It really is. It really, really is. For real.
It also could be why things align for you the way they do. When you're just a good person and walking in your faith and your purpose,
Thank you for that.
you're going to attract all of that as well.
That means the world to me, seriously. Because like I said before, even in this road, like we face our own challenges in itself. And yeah, no, thank you for that. I needed to hear that today. Thank you.
Of course. Let's talk about Peru and how was that first trip back? What was that feeling, those thoughts?
the first trip back, like after I didn't go back for 9 years.
Yeah.
Bro, it was so emotional. I think I cried every single night that I went to sleep.
What were some of the realizations like that you were experiencing while you were there?
So first and foremost, like it was my first time there as an adult. You know what I mean? Like before that, I had gone there as a teenager. So this time I was processing it from a completely different place. And I think it hit me the hardest that first trip because I realized that, like, I don't know, I think in the back of my head, I always expected to like go back and be able to continue building the life that I had back then. But that just was not the case. Things were so different from the last time that I was there, as far as, you know, my father not being in the house and just life in general.
Yeah.
So it just really hit me like a fucking slap in the face. I was like,
because I imagine you go back and you're like kind of maybe subconsciously a 10-year-old again.
yes, thank you. No, and it really was very subconscious because at the beginning I would kind of, I feel like my other family members felt the same way in the way that they would treat me as if I was still. So that didn't help. They're treating me like a 10-year-old and I'm feeling like a 10-year-old there. I'm like, but I'm not realizing it until like, I think the second trip that I did go over there, which was last year. And like I said, like, I just kind of like really realized that that's what was happening. Like at first I think I wanted to blame it on them treating me like a 10-year-old. And then I was like, wait, I also think I'm a 10-year-old.
Right. Yeah.
And that was a tough thing to face because I think that I really did want to be a 10-year-old again.
Maybe there were things that you
finish
wanted to feel. Exactly.
There were a lot of things that were left unfinished.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I guess this trip, like I said, that were like the trip that I just came back from, this most recent trip, I think has been my most acceptant one yet, in the sense that basically when I land there, I feel like I mentally go back to a lot of memories from back then, which like not all of them are the most pleasant because the reason why I left was because of, you know, things weren't going particularly correctly. I think that most of the last two trips that I went back, my mind would immediately go back to those memories. But having Sherelle this trip there helped me stay a lot more present and helped me see things for what they were in today's day and age, you know? And what I'm most grateful about, honestly, is the fact that my family really loves me as if nothing has ever changed for it. Because I love that at the end of the day, and back to, you know, Catholicism and whatnot, I really do love that those principles were instilled in me because I don't know, I feel like that really does make me the person that the reason why I'm able to be honest in every conversation and just show up as myself is because of all those roots. So I think that in a way, that's why I do love revisiting, but also there are just painful memories that don't really serve me, you know? Just the fact that my family really does love me for who I am, regardless of how much I may have changed physically. Because my first time back there, that was one of my main worries. I was like,
they were like, who this
they're gonna look at me and be like, es una pirañita.
What is pirañita?
Pirañita means like a little gangbanger. I was like, they're definitely gonna think that I am on some other shit.
That's crazy.
And they wouldn't be too far off, but but I'm still a good person though.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, and that was one of my main worries though, that they would be looking at me just differently.
Yeah.
And I'm just so happy that that was not the case, bro. Like oh my God, I just remember being so worried. I was like, they're not
Were they
gonna
very
like me.
conservative?
Of course, my whole family is like Christian Catholic. Like
Okay.
I think that they just started accepting gay people like a few years ago.
Gotcha.
Very, very conservative family. Yeah, none of them have tattoos besides me and my brothers.
Oh, okay.
Type
So
thing.
it's y'all over there
It's
in
y'all.
that group.
It's that part of the Rojas family.
So you went back. You kind of felt a little bit stunted, if you will, the first few times, right? Because you're still kind of tapping into 10-year-old you.
Right.
What do you think are some of the things that have healed for you from 10-year-old you?
I think that I've gotten a lot better at saying goodbye to people without it feeling like it has to be such a painful thing. Because, I don't know, like at the beginning, it really, you know, like the last time that, or in my brain at least, last time I said bye to somebody, I didn't get to see them for a certain period of time, and that really, it affected me so much to the point that I think my brain started, like kind of doing whatever I needed to do to survive, in the
Right.
sense of I had to forget about certain things completely so that I could learn how to survive here in America. Because I'm different, I didn't speak English, I was definitely like, kids were picking on me and
Yeah.
things like that. So like I really did have to adapt to being Americanized, and I did Americanize the shit out of myself. So basically, I feel like when I first got here, I kind of was forced to separate from my roots. Like I wasn't even proud to be where I was from and things like that, which I'm like, I literally have Peru tatted right here. I'm very proud now that I've unlearned those things. But yeah, like at the beginning, people made me feel so wrong for being different and looking like how I remember kids used to call me Pocahontas, and not in like a complimentary way, like how they do now. Like they were like trying me.
Yeah.
And like it was very hurtful at the time. And now I am so much more proud of my heritage, and I'm so glad that I did go back to revisit my roots, because one of the things that I'm very adamant about is that if you don't know where you came from, you don't know where you're going. And when I first got back to Peru, and I revisited where I really come from, it really did remind me so much of where I'm supposed to be going. And it just like really re-strengthened that. And I'm happy that I can finally, be proud of where I'm from, because like I said at the beginning, people made me feel so wrong for just existing in the form that I was existing.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just was weird. And then when I got to Peru, I was a little bit too Americanized to, you know
For
what I'm
them.
saying? To fit in with them. Like they call me gringa and shit.
Yeah.
And I'm offended.
Right.
I'm like,
You're highly offended when people say that.
I'm like, what the fuck?
How dare you?
Excuse me? I'd be so offended because
Yeah.
we don't get the privileges that gringas get for real.
Right.
So I'm just
That
like,
part.
I'm not getting the privileges here or here.
What am I gonna do? Who am I?
And it really is such an existential crisis. And this is why I love this podcast, because it really does give us free room to be that.
Yeah, right.
To be confused.
Right. Iron out these things that what I've seen with past guests is they'll talk about things and they're like, I've never really talked about that with anybody. So I'm really glad that whatever this space does for people, it allows them to be like, oh, I could finally tell another person who's going to understand exactly what I mean.
Yeah, for real.
But I did want to touch on one last thing. What did your trip to Peru do for your art? Because I saw that you started to create when you were there. I saw you did a whole photo shoot. You were like on the roof of something, hanging clothes on the line. And I was just like, oh, brilliant. Like I love your art, and I'm just like, this is amazing. This is so raw. It's so good.
No, thank you so much for that. And I think at this point in my craft, I really try to be as raw as I can with those things. And especially when I go back to Peru, because so the person that I've been shooting those photos with is my brother, like my real brother. Yeah. And
So he's the photographer.
He's the photographer, and he's also been, I think, my main inspiration since I was a kid, because when I think about it, he's probably my first best friend ever.
Oh.
And we are just alike in so many ways, like not just the fact that he's a physically bearded version of me, but also just the type of person that we are. Like, we're like kind of both the black sheep of the family, but because he's been there this whole time,
Right.
and I've been here this whole time, and so we're just like the black sheep, but in two different places.
Yeah, so interesting that you weren't by each other, but still kind of made the same decisions, I guess.
And honestly, I'll say that, like I said, he just has always been a big inspiration. He has a journalism major.
Oh, wow.
And so the first cycle of his career was writing. And I remember when he was writing was when I started writing poetry. Like, poetry has always been my first love.
Really?
Yes. Like, I love to write.
didn't
And that's
know
why there's so
that.
much writing in my clothes. Like, I love to drop a whole paragraph on a t-shirt because I'm like, I got some shit to say, you know? But it really was because of him. Like, he really helped me learn how to put my feelings into words. And then the second cycle of his career was teaching photography, or learning photography, I should say. And so when he picked up the camera, so did I. And even though, like I said, he was in Peru and I was here, and my friend Ice, which is also a part of X-Lays, shout out to Ice, he had an extra camera that he let me borrow, and I just started shooting. And I like, me and my brother would be on the phone, and he would teach me like the settings and things that I should be on and things like that, so I don't have to always shoot on automatic. And yeah, like, that was, I think, a way of keeping our relationship,
Yeah.
you know, at least somewhat together, because we were so far away, and I really wanted to be still close to him.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry, but yeah, I definitely think that just him being in that area of creativity, which is so crazy because now he does more corporate things, like he shoots for, like, he shot for the government and shit like that.
Like, super.
So and then the only time that I don't want to say the only time, but whenever I go over there, I'm the
Y'all are
one
able to
making him be
collab.
like, yeah, let's do some creative shit. Let's shoot on the rooftop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And-
amazing. That's beautiful, though.
Yeah, no, seriously, and it really does help because he teaches me as he's shooting. He's this is like the type of lighting that you should have when you're using this or that, and yeah, it's just always so good to, you know, just create with him, because we have both been creating, but just in different spaces and times. And so, yeah, it just really is such a good way, I think, for all of our, because me and my mom also connect in that level of like creativity.
And I think you also had posted some pictures. Maybe it was your grandmother or an aunt that was also like,
Oh my God,
doing
yes.
something. I'm like, so everybody just.
Yes. My auntie, because, okay, so basically the way that our crib is set up, my grandmother bought the land. So the first floor was the land that she owned. She made it into a crib or whatever, but it was only the first floor. And she gifted the heirs, that's what they call it, like the heirs of the second floor,
Okay.
to my parents so that they could build on the second floor. So I literally watched my house get built.
Okay.
I've seen it be just brick and then have the cement stuff outside and stuff like that. And yeah, like, I've just really seen it go from absolutely nothing to what it is now.
And everyone has their own little pockets.
Exactly. And so my auntie that you're talking about lives immediately next door to me. The third floor ended up being another one of my aunts of, you know, the same family, of course. And then the fourth floor was the azotea. Which is just basically like the top floor where we like usually line drying the clothes and stuff. But she created like a whole little like arts and crafts room, bro, out of like plywood. Like, she literally, like, she didn't build it herself by hand, but she bought all of the materials and she hired somebody. She was like, okay, I need this room to be this size.
Yeah.
And, you know what I'm saying? And I'm
That's
just like, that's so
awesome.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I really do. Like,
I do
really
like to
have
see that.
No, I've had those roots instilled me from so early, and I didn't like really realize it until, you know, like now that I'm an adult and I can see things as they truly are versus like just experiencing.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't even get to ask, like, what is your favorite Peruvian food?
Oh my God, that's such a hard question.
Peruvian food really slaps. It's so good. I need to really take a moment here.
Because my mom might be mad at me depending on what I answer. I feel like tallarines verdes is probably one of my definitely up there. Has to be.
What is that?
Tallarines verdes is, I mean, if you translate it literally, it's just green spaghetti.
Okay.
But I mean, I'm sure you've tried pesto.
Yeah.
But it's not pesto.
Okay.
it's like the Hispanic Peruvian version, and it's just it definitely, like, the basis is very similar, but there's a lot of ingredients in Peru that only grow in Peru.
Okay.
So like when people recreate it here, like
the taste is a little off.
yeah, and it'll still be good, but it's not the same thing.
Gotcha. Okay.
You know? But yeah, I think Tallarinas Verdes is definitely up there. Also, Papa La Huancaína.
Oh, that
which-
sauce.
Yes,
That
the yellow sauce.
Yeah.
That's that girl right there. And the pepper that we use for that is ají amarillo. And we use it in a lot, like most of our, it's kind of like our garlic. Like we also use garlic with it, but like it's kind, you use
That's a
garlic in every
staple in
dish.
a lot of dishes.
Exactly. And it's just not easy to find. In Miami, it's a lot easier to find. In LA, I'm just like,
True.
somebody please, if you're in LA and you're seeing this and you know where to find ají amarillo, please point me to that store. Please.
That's hilarious.
For real, because it really is such a key ingredient to the dish. Like it takes it from this dish is good to damn, this dish is busting. You know what I'm saying?
Do you cook?
Yes.
Ooh, let me find out.
I eat what mostly every day is I cook for myself because I just grew up like that. Like my mom would cook every day, so I'm just used to
Yeah.
doing that for
Okay.
myself.
So you have your own Peruvian dishes that you be throwing down.
Yeah, for
Okay,
for
okay.
sure. Yeah, I don't know how I would survive without it.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Because when I was a kid, like I would just be in the kitchen with my mom. My mom would be cooking, and I would be using like the ingredients that she was not using anymore. So I'd just be making bullshit, really. But like the practice, I feel like makes you feel so in the moment.
You know La Granja?
Yeah.
Does that encompass real Peruvian food?
I fought with some of the La Granja dishes.
A little
What the
La
fuck does she
Granja.
know about Peru? No, La Granja got some fire shit in there, but like I said,
It's not the same. It's not the
never gonna
same.
be the same. Like
Yeah.
you really have to go to Peru and try the food there because I'm like I'm not trying to sound like I'm gassing it, but you really
No, I
it's
mean-
just also in America we just grow everything with hormones.
True.
And it's already changing the taste. It's not only changing the taste, but also how we feel afterwards. Due to my ADHD, I have to take certain meds every day. I was not taking them the entire time that I was over there, and I had energy every single day. Everything that I ate actually gave me energy rather than
Gotcha.
making me feel bloated and tired afterwards.
Yeah.
And that's just another thing that I'm kind of like learning about as I'm an adult, because I'm like, damn, the things that I put into my body, I mean, given obviously they matter a lot, but I feel like as you grow older, they're like, you know,
they're starting
really-
to take a toll. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm just like,
Do you think you'd ever go back to live in
I
Peru?
would love to. But also I know that financially and economically speaking, it is better for me to be over there. Like I help my family a lot more over there because I earn here in dollars versus
Right.
like earning over there in soles. It's completely different. But I definitely do want to set up my business in the way that I can be there for at least 3 months at a time
Yeah.
and like still be running my business smoothly from here,
Right.
Because I definitely feel like there are still a lot of parts of me to grow there that just, like I said, like, I don't know, certain parts just feel stunted in a way. And I really want for them to grow, but it's hard being an American and having to grow in all of these different ways.
Yeah, I think everyone should, if they can, if the
Yes.
conditions, you
Right.
know, are right.
No, it really is a blessing to get to go back
Yeah.
to anywhere.
and just kind of like tap in like that, because I used to get sent in the summers, but it's different now as an adult. I'm making the choices
Exactly.
now, so-
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And that was the same thing here, because I was like, usually my first 2 trips over there, I stayed for a month. And this trip, I realized that that's also part of what was emotionally stunting me, because I'm like staying there for a long time, expecting things to at some point get back to how they were. And I'm like, oh, they're not. That's not happening.
Yeah.
I need to get back to my life so I can get back to real life.
We're gonna bring out the cookie tin that everybody immediately wants to open. I gotta be like, hands off.
It's a sewing kit.
Do you
I'm telling
believe?
you.
It's not a sewing kit. I'm gonna be pissed, bro. Like, since I was a kid, this has been a sewing kit. The only time I ever opened this and it was cookies in it was here in America, and I was confused.
That's what the cookies look like.
I'm like, what the fuck? Y'all actually bring cookies in this?
So do you think there's cookies in here or a sewing kit?
I hope there's cookies. It looks new enough for there to be cookies,
Oh man.
but I hope it's a soda.
Okay, well, let's see.
So
Open it up and let's see if you're right.
No. What's her final
Can I
guess?
shake
though?
it?
What's
Can I
your
shake
final
it?
guess?
No, everybody- So you think cookies are not cookies?
Hold on.
Everybody looks at. It looks like.
I'm gonna say sewing kit. I just.
Okay, well, open it up and see.
I'm gonna be furious. I gotta shake it still. It's fucking cookies in here.
No.
You gotta show your cam. You gotta show your cam what it is. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah.
So funny.
Yeah.
Kangie bucks.
Crazy.
That's
crazy,
hilarious.
twin.
Yo, tell the real
Wish
quick.
I
Just
had more.
tell the people the story behind these Kangie bugs.
Yo, honestly, the story behind these, you know how everybody always hold on to $2 bills like they're
Good
like,
luck and
Yeah, which I mean, given whatever you believe, you know, but people really sell these for hundreds of dollars. But when you go to the store, you try to give them a $2 bill, they're like, it's only worth $2. You know what I'm saying? And I think it just really shows how much money has the value that we give them. And also, so do we. We only hold as much value as we give ourselves. So yeah, this is why I love the $2 bill, because I think that is just such a good way to show that anything and everything in life has as much value as we're willing to give that. And we should be giving it to ourselves,
yes.
you know?
Amen to that.
Amen. Can't believe there's no fucking cookie or sewing kit. I was cheated twice.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank
for
you
joining
for having
us.
me. Seriously.
Thank you for getting off that flight and coming here. I really appreciate
You know, I
it. We
had
were
to
trying to
do it.
coordinate this for a minute.
No,
so
we linked in LA and
I
we
know,
were like,
how we're gonna
try
make
to
this
it
happen.
happen. If I get a long layover, I'm there, and look at me.
It worked. It worked. Thank
No,
you.
I'm so happy to be here, for real. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you. And let the people know who you are.
I'm Kangie Tuda. Once again, follow me on Instagram at Kangie Tuda with a number 2. And also Second to None Academy, which is my clothing brand. And yeah, we are at Growing Up Spanglish right now, right here, right now.
Yo soy boricua.